Fire Nation, a group of citizens are plotting. They are wanting to strike now that they have hope. One of the members introduces a woman who is willing to risk everything for their cause. She tells them that she lost her mother and brother in the siege of Ba Sing Se. Using a woman who works in a palace, the group decides to go ahead with their assassination plot against Fire Lord Ozai. The group sneaks into the palace, assisted by the woman who leads them to a hidden door to the throne room. As soon as they enter, they are surrounded by guards and forced to surrender. Ozai walks out of the shadows and tells the group there is no way out. Group leader tells Ozai that after they killed him, that they expect decent Fire Nation citizens will be welcoming and be freed from his tyranny. Ozai tells him that he is ensured an era of peace. The woman that was assisting walks forward and approaches Ozai. She is introduced as Azula, the Fire Nation princess. Although shocked by this reveal, the group leader tells Ozai that there is one out there that can't be stopped. Not wanting to hear anymore, Ozai kills the group using fire. Azula watches on pleased. After asking the guards to leave, he shows Azula the message that was sent to him by Commander Zhao. The message tells him that Zuko has found the Avatar. This news upsets Azula as she believes that she will now lose her chance to the throne. By the river, Katara is practicing the water whip, but is having trouble materializing the move. Aang arrives and tries to give her some advice he learnt from the monks. Katara was still struggling after following his advice. While flying upper, Aang notices what he thinks is another airbender heading towards the Earth Kingdom Omashu. Zuko is speaking with his uncle Iroh while going over a map. They're trying to figure out where the Avatar has gone. Zhao tries to offer to contact his contacts, but Zuko tells him no, as he doesn't want anyone else to know. Zhao insists in contacting his trusted sources, and with the encouragement of his uncle, Zuko agrees. Aang, Katara and Sokka try to enter the city on foot. They see some people being denied entry and was told by one of the merchants that Omashu does not take kindly to outsiders. Katara asks the merchant for help for getting inside the city. Once they are in the city, the turnip farmer tells them to be careful as Omashu is a dangerous place. Aang runs through the market to find the airbender. When he finds them, Aang discovers that the person he is following isn't an airbender. He is disappointed to learn that he is using a mechanical glider to fly. Katara and Sokka find Aang just when an explosion goes off nearby. Aang uses airbending to put out the fires, while Katara uses waterbending to do the same. The boy's name is Tio, which we find out when his father arrives. They take Aang, Katara and Sokka to their home. Tio's father introduces himself as Sai on the way. Tio tells the gang that the explosion wasn't an accident and that there was a Fire Nation spies in the city. Tio tells him his dad is known as the Mechanist who provides outlines for technological advancement to the King of Omashu. They leave, and Aang is upset by all the people he sees that were hurt in the explosion. Omashu doesn't look like the same place that he remembers. He goes back to Tio's house and tells them that he wants to help, and also tells them that he is the Avatar. Azula is practicing her archery and is telling her friends about Zuko being away and her doing everything her father asks. She talks about her time undercover with the Resistance. Azula does not believe that Zuko deserves to be Fire Lord. Back at Tio's house, he tells Aang how he thinks he can help. He believes he knows where the bombers have been gathering. Zhao tells Zuko and Iroh that his sources have spotted an airbender near Omashu. He tries to offer to join them with capturing the Avatar. However, Zuko refuses and only wants himself and his uncle Iroh to go. While out practicing her waterbending, Katara sees Sai giving designs to a firebender. She was about to confront him when she is stopped by the turnip farmer, who introduces himself as Jet. He tells her that he is a freedom fighter and that he is fighting against the Fire Nation spies in Omashu. He tells Katara that Sai is one of the Fire Nation spies. Aang and Tio are gliding above the city. They are heading to the caves where Tio believes the bombers gather. Jet and Katara were following the Fire Nation soldier, who has two other guys with him. Katara uses waterbending to help in the fight against the Fire Nation soldiers. Jet calls his friends, who also joins the fray. He introduces Katara to his crew, which consists of a brawler Pipsqueak, archer Longshot, knife expert Smellerbeam, and Reckless the Duke. Sokka is helping Sai with the airship and is impressed with his work. He tells Sokka that his father must be proud of him. Sokka tells him that his father doesn't really pay attention to that. Sai thinks Sokka has enough skills to be an engineer. Jet has taken Katara to one of his bases. While there, he tells her that the city is not how it used to be, and that as the war dragged on, the king grew tired. Everyone in the base has lost someone to the Fire Nation. Aang and Tio find evidence of someone using a cave as a base. They come across a jar with blasting jelly. Aang sees some material and realises that the Fire Nation had nothing to do with the explosion. Meanwhile, Jet tells Katara that when he was 8, the Fire Nation had killed his family. Katara relates to his story as she lost her mother to the Fire Nation. Jet tells Katara that she should not think about how her mother died, that she should instead think on the positive memories of her mother. This advice helps Katara to master the water whip move, which she was struggling with. Zuko and Iroh are in Amashu. They are exploring the city. Zhao has a message from Azula. She claims that she will help him to capture the Avatar from afar. Aang and Katara returns to the house. Aang tells him that he found the blasting jelly and that he believes that Jet is behind the bombing. Katara doesn't want to believe this and instead thinks that Sai is responsible after she saw him with a Fire Nation spy. Katara is angry that no one believes her and she leaves. She finds Jet and he tells her that he is involved in the bombings. He also tells her that the next target will be the king by way of a bomb planted in a suitcase which was switched with Sai's. Katara goes back and tells Aang and Sokka. They race to stop Jet, however Aang is stopped by Zuko, who begins to fight Aang. To get to the palace, Katara and Sokka uses the delivery system in Amashu. While fighting Zuko, Aang lets slip that he knows that Zuko has been tracking him for 3 years. This slip-up makes Zuko realise that Aang had stolen his notebook. An angry Zuko begins firebending, which makes the citizens flee the city. Once there, Katara uses the water whip to stop the flaming arrow shot by Longshot, stopping the bomb from detonating. Shortly after, earthbending guards arrive on the scene and arrest Aang and Iroh. Iroh had publicly firebend in order for Zuko to escape the city undetected. That's it for the recap for The Last Airbender, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.